Hello soulmates, welcome to another interesting episode. My name is Adrian. Thank you so much for coming around. If you're new to my channel, you're welcome. Consider subscribing and don't forget to turn on the bell icon so that you get to know anytime I post new videos. So today I'm going to show us the 3 ways that you can draft a perfect off the shoulder bodice pattern. So if you're interested, let's get started. Alright, to draft an off the shoulder pattern, you'll be needing one important measurement, which is the over the shoulder measurement, or you can also call it the round shoulder measurement. This is very important, so you'll be needing that measurement. So, and you also need your basic bodice pattern. So before drafting an off the shoulder, I believe you already know how to draft a basic bodice pattern. That is what you're going to use to determine the off the shoulder pattern. Here you can see I have my basic bodice already drafted out. This is the front and this is the back side. Like I said earlier, you will need the over the shoulder measurement. Now mine is 36 inches. That is the over the shoulder measurement. It is 36 inches. So this is for a 12-year-old. So for instance, maybe you forgot to measure the over the shoulder measurement. There's also a way to calculate that. So to do that, you will need to check what you have from the armhole midpoint. You can see this is mine here. This is the armhole midpoint. You will need to check what you have on that point. So to do that, you just place your tape on that midpoint and move it over to the center front. Like mine, you can see I have 6.5. Now you know my paper is just one piece, so this 6.5 now you multiply by 4 to get the what you have here for both the front and the back. So this 6.5 multiplied by 4 is 26. Okay, so after knowing that, you will need your bicep measurement to get the over the shoulder measurement. Now for me, the bicep measurement for this age, this particular one I'm working with, is 11 inches. That is the bicep measurement. It is 11 inches. Then you minus 1 inch from your bicep measurement. Mine, if I minus 1 inch, is going to give me 10. Then you add it to what you have here. Okay, like I just explained now, I have 26 inches already for both the front and the back. Okay, if you add 10 to that, that will give me 36 inches. All right, so work with your own measurement. Use the bicep measurement, minus that, minus 1 inch from the bicep measurement, and then add it to whatever you have from the bodice. That is after measuring from this midpoint, and you will get your over the shoulder measurement. But the best thing to do is to take the measurement yourself so that you don't end up making any mistake, because children differ in body shape and size, so you need to take the measurement by yourself. All right, so now I'm going to show us the first way that you can draft a perfect off the shoulder bodice pattern, and this particular one is the one that the sleeve is already attached together with the bodice. Okay, the sleeve is not separate, it is already attached to the bodice. So that is the first one that we're going to start with. All right, like I was saying, the first method is the one that the sleeve is already attached to the bodice. Now to do that, I'm going to come over to this shoulder line. You can see this is the shoulder line. I'll just mark 2.5 inches following this slope, you know, the shoulder slope. I'll just follow that slope and mark the 2.5 inches. This works for all ages. You can use this method for say 2 years to 12 years. It's going to come out perfect as long as you know how to take an accurate body measurement. Okay, so I'll just mark this is 2.5, and then I'll connect it, like I said, following the slope. I'll just connect it to meet up to that shoulder line like this. Okay, then on this point now I'll come down by 2 inches. Now this part depends on how high or low you want the off or the shoulder neckline to be. If you want it low, you can come down as low as 2.5, okay, or 2.25. But when you're making an off the shoulder, you don't need it too wide so that it will not be too open on that neckline or the shoulder area. So this is 2 inches that I have here. You can see from this slope I'll just mark 2 inches. Okay, then I'll come over to this neckline. You can see this is a basic neckline. If you want to make a ball dress, this is the basic neckline, and I use 4 inches as the neck depth, and I use neck width of 3 inches. You can see. So I'll come over to this neck depth. Now here you decide, like I said earlier, how low or high you want the off the shoulder neckline to be. Right, so here I'll just come down by 1 inch, okay, because I want it to be a little free to give it a perfect shape. So this is just 1 inch, and then I'll connect it now with a little curve. From that point here, I'll just connect it to meet this other point here. Alright, okay, so this is what I have. So I'll come over to this point now to decide how many inch that I want to use as the sleeve. That is the height of the sleeve. So I'll make it 2 inches. If you want, you can make it 1.5 or 1.25. Okay, it's up to you, but I'll be using 2 inches for this. So I'll just follow the line, okay, and mark the 2 inches, and then I'll connect it as well. It's as easy and simple as that. Okay, so I'll just give it a slight curve as well. Okay, and then I'll also join it on this end. Okay, now this is what I have. You can see that the shape that I have here, the sleeve is already included. You can see that it's very easy to make or draft and off the shoulder together with the sleeve. This way it will save you a lot of stress and make your work to be faster and neat as well. So this is how to go about making this method. Now I'll move over to the back side. This is for the front, so we're going to repeat the same on this back side. The only difference now for this back side is that you can decide to make the neckline to be lower, okay, because this is the back. So on this chest line I can just go up by say 2 inches or even 1 inch, depending on how wide you want the back to be or how open you want the back side to be. So I'll just mark, I'll go with 2 inches because I don't want it too open. So this is 2 inches as well. This is the zipper allowance. You can see I'm extending it to that zipper allowance side. Okay, so I'll repeat what I just did now. Okay, by marking 2.5 inch, following the slope. Okay, still the same method. So just quickly rush this so we can move on to the second method of drafting and off the shoulder. Okay, and I'll come down by 2 inches. Okay, and then I'll connect to the curve to meet up to that point. Okay, very easy. Alright, then I'll follow the slope and also mark the height of the sleeve, which is 2 inches. And we connect. You can see that the front and the back is ready. It's as easy and simple as that. Okay, and then connect. Okay, so this is what the back look like. You can see it's very easy. All I'm going to do is to add my sewing allowance on this side. By the time I cut it off, you need to add your sewing allowance. Alright, so this is how to draft the first method, which is drafting and off the shoulder together with the sleeve. So we will move on to the second method, which is used especially if you want to add a cape or a ruffle to your off the shoulder dress. Right, moving on to the next one, which is an off the shoulder with a cape or a ruffle. So I'm going to repeat some of the things I did on this first one. So I'm going to repeat that. So this is the shoulder line. I will mark 2.5 inches as well and straighten it up. This is just to give you a guide on how to place or mark the off the shoulder sleeve. Okay, so I'll just mark the point and connect it as well. Alright, like I was saying, you just connect that to this point, and then I'll come over to the neckline here. You can see that the first one I used 1 inch, but for this one I'll be making it 1/2 inch because I don't want it to be too low. You know, this side is going to be straight, so the neckline is not supposed to be that wide. If it's wide, the chest area will be too open and it will not be looking nice. So this is it. Okay, so I'm going to check what I have now. This is 4.5 from this line. It is 4.5, so I'm going to mark that 4.5 here as well. You can see the way I am placing my tape, so I'll mark the 4.5 here. Now this side is going to be straight. You can see that the first one, it was curvy, like a kind of brown neck, but this is going to be straight so that your cape will lap very well after attaching it. So I'll go ahead now and connect it straight as well. Okay, so after connecting now, I'm going to mark 1 inch as the sleeve, because for the sleeve, for this part, you don't need it much because you'll be attaching either a ruffle or a cape, so you don't need this part much. I normally use 1 inch or at most 1.5 inches for the sleeve if I am adding a cape or a ruffle to the dress. So I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch. Okay, but always remember to add your sewing allowance. It is very important so that you don't end up having shortages. So I'll just connect now, and you can see that we have an off the shoulder pattern that you can attach a cape or a ruffle to it. And then I'll connect this other way. Okay, so you can see what we have here, that the sleeve is also included. So all I'm going to do now, I'll come over to this point. This is the chest line, and I'll just go down by either 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch to create enough ease on this chest area. For the first pattern, I forgot to explain that you also need to do that as well. You need to come down as well on this point by 1/2 or 1/4 inch, depending on the age that you're making this. So I'll just come down by 1/2 inch and then connect it back to the neckline. This way it will create enough ease for the child to move the arm or the hand around. So this is the 1/2 inch. I'll just use my free hand, or you can also use your armhole curve just to connect it. Okay, and the pattern is ready. When you cut out, you make sure to add your sewing allowance. It is very important. So I'll repeat the same now for the back side. Now the back side, the neck depth should be the same so that you have it equal after attaching the cape. So I'll repeat what I just did here on this back side. Okay, so this is the back side. You can see I just repeated the same thing on this back side. Okay, so after cutting, make sure to add your sewing allowance on this side. So with this method, you can add your cape, your ruffles. You can be creative using this method. So we're going to move over now to the third method of drafting and off the shoulder pattern. And this method, a lot of people know how to do this. So the first thing to do is to minus. You can see now that I used 5 inches. Okay, that is the first one the first method that I just explained. I use 5 inches for the neck depth, so I'm going to minus that from the actual bodice length. Now for this, the actual bodice length is 15 inches. So if I minus 5 from that, I'll have 10 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 10 inches. Okay, so just mark 10 inches and connect it to a straight line. Okay, this is very easy. So this is 10 inches, then I'll connect. Okay, so after connecting now, we are going to be marking the armhole or the chest line. Okay, so now the chest line, you can see from this first one, from this line here, the armhole is 7.5 inches. So I'm going to add that. So you can see the way I am placing my tape now. This is the full length, 15 inches. Okay, and then I will mark the 7.5 now. This is how you place your tape and mark the chest or the armhole line, and then connect it to a straight line as well. Okay, so we have the chest line here. So after connecting it now, I'm going to mark the shoulder, half of the shoulder measurement, and what I have here is 7. The shoulder measurement actually is 14 inches, half of that is 7 inches. So I'm going to mark that 7 inches on this line. Remember, now this is the neckline. I'll mark the 7 inches here. Okay, so this is 7 inches. Then on this chest line now, we are going to be marking the chest measurement. So the chest measurement is 34 divided by 4 will give me 8.5. So I'll just mark the 8.5 on this line, and then I'll add my 0.75 side sewing allowance, and then I'll connect it now to this one. You can see that it's very easy. So just connect it, and your off the shoulder pattern is ready. Okay, so I'll just connect. This is the shape that I have. So for this neckline, if you don't want it straight, you can come down by ½ inch just to give it a little curve. If you want it V, you do that, just connect it straight. So you just play around the neckline, decide how you want the neckline to be. Now this is the third way of making your off the shoulder pattern. So on this waistline, I'll just mark the waist measurement, which is 30 divided by 4, and I will have 7.5, and then I'll mark 1 inch for my dart allowance, which is very important. I use ½ inch on both sides, so I'll mark 1 inch for that allowance, and then add my 0.75 side sewing allowance, and it is ready. So for the back pattern, it's still the same thing. All you need to do is to mark or to include your zipper allowance by marking it, but every other side should be the same. All right, so this is how to go about. This is the 3 ways you can actually draft an off the shoulder pattern. So give it a try. I'll be using some of these, like the first one I'll be using it to create a beautiful dress, which I'm going to share with us on this channel as well. All right, so that is it for today. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in my next video.